Ever feel like, money just has a way of disappearing, even when you're sure you haven't, gone overboard?
Yeah, that feeling of, where did it all go? We've all been there.
Well, get ready for a story that might make you feel just a tad bit better about that last splurge. We're diving into the financial journey of someone who's no stranger to millions, the one and only Al Pacino.
And it's a real eye-opener. You'd think someone who practically defines Hollywood royalty wouldn't have to worry about money, right?
Right. But we've got these articles from koimoy.com and The Street, and they paint a wild picture. This Oscar-winning actor, at one point had a net worth of $50 million, somehow ends up nearly broke.
Yeah, it's a classic case of it's not what you earn, it's what you keep. And it seems like for a while there, Pacino wasn't keeping much of it. It's a stark reminder that financial literacy, it's not just for Wall Street, it's crucial, even when you're swimming in Hollywood money.
So where do we even begin to unpack this roller coaster? Let's rewind to Pacino's early days. Long before the red carpets and those multi-million-dollar paychecks, this wasn't a silver spoon kind of story, was it?
Not even close. Picture the Bronx, late 1960s, a young Al Pacino, hustling, working odd jobs, janitor, busboy, you name it, all to fuel his acting ambitions. He even dropped out of school to chase this dream, which, speaks volumes about his commitment.
Talk about dedication. So it really adds another layer to his breakout role in The Indian Wants the Bronx, right? This wasn't just a stepping stone. It was the culmination of sheer grit.
Absolutely, yeah. That play catapulted him into a whole new league, caught the eye of manager Martin Bergman, opened doors to the world of film. And then, of course, The Godfather. Not just career-defining, but a financial game-changer.
Okay, let's talk numbers. For that first Godfather film, he earned $35,000, which, adjusted for inflation, is roughly $215,000 today.
Right. Not too shabby for a young actor, but here's where it gets really interesting. The Godfather Part 2. His salary skyrockets to $500,000, plus a cool 10% cut of the profits.
We're talking about an iconic film, a cultural phenomenon. That kind of success means serious cash.
Oh, absolutely. And he knew his worth. For Part 3, he tried to negotiate a cool $7 million plus profit share.
Wow.
He ultimately agreed to a $5 million fee, but still. Fast forward to the 1990s, he's reportedly earning upwards of $10 million per film for movies like Carlito's Way
and The Irishman, alongside De Niro and Joe Pesci. Cool $20 million for that one.
Plus a sweet deal with HBO, $10 million per movie. This was peak Pacino, commanding those top-tier paychecks. You'd think with that kind of success, financial struggles would be, the last thing on his mind. But this is where things take a bit of a turn.
Yeah, because reports of Pacino's net worth start popping up, and they're all over the map. Some claiming $120 million, others a surprisingly low $40 million.
A difference of $80 million. That's not exactly spare change. Something doesn't quite add up. It makes you wonder, where did all that money go?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
And this is where Pacino's spending habits, or perhaps his lack of attention to them, come into play.
Right, because remember those humble beginnings we talked about. It seems the financial savvy needed to manage massive wealth wasn't really part of the picture.
It's like they say, more money, more problems. Our sources describe Pacino's lifestyle in the 90s as, well, extravagant, to say the least. Mm-hmm. We're talking $400,000 in monthly expenses.
Oh.
And get this, an additional $400,000 every year just for landscaping.
Talk about keeping things green.
It's a stark contrast to, scraping by to support his acting dream, right? And those conflicting net worth reports we mentioned. There's a reason for them. It's not just about fluctuating markets. It's about a series of financial missteps, starting with Pacino's surprisingly hands-off approach to managing his wealth.
It's almost unbelievable. This incredibly successful actor at the top of his game, and he wasn't actively involved in where his millions were going. He entrusted others to handle it all, which, as we'll find out, had some, let's say, disastrous consequences. So imagine this. You're Al Pacino, you're at the top of your game, and suddenly you realize a good chunk of your fortune, it's gone.
It's almost Shakespearean the way this story unfolds. So how did he react? Did he just, retreat from the spotlight and become a recluse?
Not quite. This is Al Pacino, remember? The guy built his career on playing characters with grit. He didn't shy away from a challenge.
So no dramatic career change. Didn't decide to become an accountant.
No. He stuck with what he knew, acting. But there was a change, a definite shift in his approach.
How so?
Well, before all this financial stuff went down, Pacino was known for being really picky about his roles. He wanted characters that challenged him, But suddenly he found himself needing to prioritize, paying the bills.
It's a tough spot to be in when your passion project takes a back seat to, just making ends meet.
Exactly. And he's pretty open about it. In his memoir, Sonny Boy, he even admits to taking roles in, and I quote, some really bad films that we'll go and mention just for the cash. I mean, that takes guts, to swallow your pride and do what you got to do.
Absolutely. But it wasn't just about taking any role, right? Didn't he also branch out, try some different things?
You're right. He started doing these seminars, teaching acting, sharing his insights.
Which makes sense. Turning his experience into another source of income.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about, acting techniques. It was about his journey. The highs, the lows, navigating Hollywood.
Man, can you imagine being in one of those seminars? Learning from Al Pacino himself? That's got to be like gold.
Totally. But think about it. This wasn't just some Hollywood star preaching about pushing through. This was a guy who lived it. He faced a real crisis and came out on the other side.
It's a side of him we don't often see. We're so used to the glamour, the awards, right? But this part of his story, it shows a different kind of strength.
Absolutely. The strength to adapt, to hustle, to rebuild when it seems like everything's fallen apart. And that's a powerful message for all of us, no matter who you are or what you do.
It's about how you get back up.
Right.
So, did this new chapter, did it lead to a full financial recovery for Pacino?
That's where it gets interesting. While the exact details of his finances now are kind of murky, there's no question that he turned things around.
Although the numbers paint different pictures, don't they? Koimoy.com estimates his net worth to be around $120 million. They highlight his $20 million paycheck for The Irishman.
Right, which points to a pretty amazing comeback. But then you've got sources like Celebrity Net Worth, and they put his net worth closer to $40 million.
Big difference.
Right, and The Street mentions Pacino having to, change his budget after realizing he was broke.
So maybe the road to recovery wasn't exactly smooth sailing after all.
Definitely seems that way. It was more of a slow climb than a quick leap back to the top.
Which honestly is more relatable, right? For most of us, bouncing back isn't about winning the lottery. It's about smart choices, adapting and not giving up.
Exactly. And as we dig into the final part of Pacino's story, we'll see there's a lot we can learn from him no matter where we stand financially.
It really makes you think, We often equate success with all the flashy stuff. Money, fame, awards. But Pacino's story, it shows a different kind of success. It's about overcoming, about getting back up after a fall, and not just surviving, but thriving.
Right. And that's something that resonates with everyone, right? Life throws curveballs, no matter who you are or how much you make.
Totally. And it's bigger than just money, isn't it? Setbacks in any part of life, they can be a chance to grow, to rethink our priorities, to find a strength we didn't know we had.
Absolutely. And look at how Pacino handled this. He could have easily gotten bitter, blamed everyone else, right? But he didn't. He owned it, learned from it, reinvented himself.
That's so key. He could have just disappeared, but he shared his story, even the tough parts, in his memoir, those seminars.
He showed people it's okay to ask for help, to adjust, to find a new way forward when the old way isn't working.
There's this line in his book that really stuck with me. They have that expression, you can't look back. Well, I look back and I love it. I love what I see. I love that I existed. That's some deep stuff right there.
Yeah.
It's about accepting yourself, your journey, even the messy parts.
Totally. And that's a powerful thing to remember, especially now when everything's about instant results and being afraid to fail. Pacino reminds us that real success, it's a marathon. There'll be stumbles, but it's how we handle them that matters.
So true. It's a reminder that we're all capable of incredible resilience. Pacino's journey from the Bronx to Hollywood and back again is like a testament to the human spirit. We adapt, we overcome, we find new meaning, even when everything changes.
And sometimes those changes, they lead to unexpected places. We discover strengths we didn't know we had, and those lessons make the journey richer, even with a few financial bumps in the road.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this look at Al Pacino and his, let's call it an interesting relationship with money, we're left thinking about resilience, about being smart with our finances, and knowing that real success isn't about a perfect climb to the top. It's about navigating those ups and downs.
It's about getting back up.
Exactly. And on that note, thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the financial life of Al Pacino. Until next time, remember, life's a journey. Just enjoy the ride.
These three hats have three different meanings. I'm going to break them down hat by hat. This hat represents me, the family man, husband, and father. This hat represents me, the musician, producer, singer, songwriter, street promoter. This hat represents me as a filmmaker, feature films, and vlogging. These hats also represent where I'm from, Miami. The cliche, you're a jack of all trades, but somehow I managed to master all three. I'm Bobby Washington, and these are my vlogs.